some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Hi there, folks. I'm Dan Hallfield. Welcome to Last Man Standing. As you may or may not have noticed, there was not a stupid o'clock tonight. There probably will not be one Saturday night as well. It's getting close to Hallowcon. We just don't want anything to go wrong, so Joe Dog is taking care of business behind the screens, so to speak. And with me tonight, I got Aunt Donna, I got Richie, we got Mike Jimmy shortly in the audience because he's getting ready to go to work. We've got Thesis in the audience, and I wanted to mention something at the moment, and this is that I got a copy of R. Sterling Esquire's book, Bubblegum Apocalypse Noir, here early this week. And I've read a little bit of it. It's, if you like his YouTube show, you will love this book. It's more of the same vein of humor that he demonstrates all the way through his interviews and all his show and references to different movies and things. There are all kinds of literary references to some of his favorite movie and show star characters, and it's a fun read. It's available on Amazon. I had the link ready to post in, but I realized if I posted it in the chat, it would show up 6 times because I'm running the show. So go and look it up.
Is it fiction or the same vein as what he normally does, kind of a commentary and dissection of pop media?
It's all fiction. It's all fiction. It's really funny, but it has sci-fi and horror and comedy elements all mixed in.
All right, Mr. Tech, Atomic Snack Bar, stay in your lane. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Welcome
Oh,
to the center
believe
of the
me,
lane.
really. I need to talk him into checking out Indie CD. I really do
Yeah.
because he put the book out himself. So
And what else was in the book, Daniel?
I wasn't going to mention that.
That's why
Um,
I brought it up.
he asked me for advice on how to write the cover blurb and description of the book, and I wound up being on the acknowledgments page. So I I scared Lindsay. She's on the far end of the house, which is not that far, but I'm sitting back here, opened up the package, opened up the book, reading the intro and the acknowledgments, and all of a sudden I see my name and I go, and she thought I had tripped over the dog again and fell down and hurt myself, even though the dog was sitting right next to her.
Well, you
I
know,
went
those dogs move awfully fast.
I went in there and just handed the book to her. Said, "Here, read the acknowledgments page." And when she got to my name, she, "Oh, that's so sweet. That's my wife." Uh, yeah. Um, yeah. It's no. It's a good read, folks. Don't worry about my name being in it. That's you know. People ask me for advice all the time. Sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they mention me, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes I wind up being a character in somebody's book.
Oh, you're just a character anyway.
Well, yeah. Uh, Sometimes I feel like I'm more of a caricature, but um, there have been about three, maybe four books now that I wound up being a speaking part. Um, one of them, I was one of the bad guys, and I didn't like that. I asked the writer if she would write a sequel and redeem the character, but um,
So far, no.
that has not come to pass. No, rheumatoid arthritis has really
Mm.
put a huge dent in her ability to turn out new stuff. She's rewriting her very, very classic books, and not classic in the terms of how old they are, although I discovered them in the about the 80s, maybe the 90s, I forget which. But she finally got all the publishing rights back,
Mhm.
and she's going, I'm going to put everything back in those publishers told me to take out. And I've had several years to learn how to be a better writer, so boom. She's rewriting all of them slowly. I hope she manages to get all the way through to her satisfaction and turns out exactly the story she wanted it to be, as everybody should be allowed to do. And if a reader goes, I wouldn't have told it that way, the writer
But
can
if you
look at
did,
them and go, then you write one.
Exactly.
Oh.
but I mean, that's
So,
exactly why 90% of us who write is because we're like, well, what if it would have went this way?
hmm or my excuse, um, generally speaking, it hurts less to write than it does to not write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it really does depend what you write.
All right, Mike Jimmy is really on the ball here. You're going to be a lot of fun when you get to work today. Uh, uh, mm, Remember, the house always wins
Mm-hmm.
90% of the time.
And so does
Not,
the hooker with the blackjack.
I was about to say, yeah. No matter whether you're talking about gambling, well, technically you're talking about gambling either way you go. But whether it's the casino or the house of ill repute, the house always wins.
Mm.
yep. Oh, I think I just came up with a new writing prompt.
I haven't heard from him for quite a while, Thesis. I don't know what's going on. Hey, Teresa. Paul, the guy who was going to write Joe's story from the alien's perspective.
Yeah. I have not seen a copy of it yet. I've got Lisa's story ready to download and start doing pre-production on for the August issue. And I have to say, folks, I have managed to thin out the number of submissions quite dramatically during this last year and a half.
And the
Instead of
beatings will continue if you keep submitting bad stories formatted incorrectly.
Yeah. But back to Paul, he had a story that he wanted to publish. Wasn't long enough, so we were talking about doing an erotic anthology with other writers.
Mhm.
He had based his story on a song and did some inquiries and would probably have gotten into trouble over copyright.
Yes.
And so he's rewriting that story, and then all of a sudden he just poof disappeared. But then, you know how life is.
Yeah, really. Either fell down a rabbit hole or. No, Richie, there may be an addition to the writing prompts page over on Aphelion. I think the newest one is going to be never turn your back on a hooker with a blackjack. It sounds like it should be one of my detective stories.
Just so that I could actually end up with the proper number of cards and hooks as I had cards to print on. I added 2 to the mix myself. So for my printed set of one was the one that you see on Facebook every so often that nothing fills a heart with glee as much as the sound of a child's laughter, unless it's 3 a.m. and you live alone and don't have children.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other was the thing I was quipping about the other day about the until death do you part, but what do you do when your mother's about ready to marry a blood-sucking fiend from the pit of hell? No, not an IRS agent, a real vampire.
Well, early happy birthday, Teresa.
Yes. Let's see.
Merry birthday.
Tomorrow is Teresa's 61st birthday. I'll never see that one again, but so far I'm enjoying being in my mid-60s, except for the constant pain.
Mid-60s?
Yeah.
No, I would say we were in our late 60s, but okay, if you want to go with mid-60s.
Hey, 67 is still coming up. I think that would be my transfer point from mid to late, but everybody measures differently. Some people think that's 6 inches.
Only because that's what you men have told us all these years.
I haven't told anybody anything. You want to know the length, you get your own damn measuring tape.
63 to 67 is usually considered mid, but also 67 through the end is also considered late. So
you won't need all of that.
Wished I'd have had that at Benny's the other day. I mean, Would have liked to know how long his hair was.
Mm.
That's what you're calling it now.
Mm-hmm.
What sounds like writer's block? That's what the writing prompts are for.
About Paul, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I
it
don't know
could
if
be.
it's block as where I don't want to say paranoia. Um,
Oh,
kind of fear. I'm not
well,
exactly sure how to put it.
Being overly cautious.
Yeah.
and then there's the aspect that a lot of us writers are absolutely terrified of finding out what people actually think of the first thing that we put out.
I gave
Well,
him a rather good review on it. And there's the fact that you're looking to revise a story. And I mean, I get this when I go over my stories. Should I do something? Should I change? Oh no, that's perfect just like it is. If he's having to revise something he thinks is
Well, he's
done
trying to
great,
avoid.
especially after I gave, I encouraged him so on it, there might be like, okay, I have no idea how to revise this story to avoid copyright.
Yes, that is always a difficulty.
or he's delving into it enough to make sure that he can avoid everything and surround them nicely around the
Hmm.
stakes.
Yep. Sometimes you have to do that. Three Ravens was a little bit worried about including the Sherlock Holmes pastiche in the Spaceport Bar book, even though the first edition, nobody even blinked an eye at it. So,
Characters in
as
the public domain, anyway.
yeah, but lots of classic writers, literary estates do try and cause problems for people uh, when they really don't have a right to, because it's in
They
public
can,
domain.
Hmm.
again, they can try to do that stink all they want. I mean, one, it's a pastiche. Two, it's not like they're republishing word for word one of the actual stories.
Hmm.
Um, and again, with everything in the public domain, that's all well within fair use. I mean, you know, even a cheap trademark and copyright lawyer can walk all over anyone trying to bitch about that. I mean, that's something you might even be able to pro se and still walk over everything on because
Hmm.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
I have read some professionally published uh, Holmes pastiches that were god awful, and if there had been a lawyer that could have kept this from actually coming to print, I would have been able to contribute to their paycheck. Please don't let this ever get out in the public. But no, um,
Oh, thesis. I
yeah,
wish that I
I
could.
was about to highlight that one.
I wish
What do
I
you
could
think?
give part of my ego thesis because you should not be terrified of what people will think of your writing. Your writing is good.
Yeah, I told you flat out on both stories what I thought. Um, and on the second one, I said, well, I wouldn't have written the ending that way, but your way works. The only reason I would have written it differently is because I'm a different person,
Hmm.
and I have um, several decades of literary experience. Going, oh, there should be a plot twist here. And when in all actual fact, it doesn't need to be. There's no reason to follow any kind of formula unless you're trying to fit into one of the markets that demands that you go, okay, here's a house name you're going to write under. Here's the formula you have to write to.
B.
And
Carolyn King.
we will pay you for X number of words in this format. And I know, I have known, excuse me, a couple of them have passed away now. I have known some folks that did that sort of don't want to call it
Ghostwriting.
genre writing, but well, it's not ghostwriting because they were the main writer, but
Hmm.
it was under a house name, not their own name.
Well, as I say, B. Carolyn King, the author of Nancy Drew.
Hmm. Um,
I mean,
let's
there
see.
there were what 10 or 12 different people who wrote under the name of Carolyn King, and you couldn't tell style wise. You could not tell
That they had a very good.
formula to follow.
Well, I wasn't going to call it the formula, even though they did have the formula, but they had a writer's guide that was very detailed.
Hmm.
Um, there were at least in the classic days, there were 4 people that were writing Doc Savage stories.
Hmm.
Nowadays, it's about 8, maybe 10, and not all of them are still with us, but there's 1 or 2 that still are, and they're turning out excellent work. You wouldn't know it from the classic stuff. Um,
Brian K. Morris has some Doc Savage stuff, doesn't he?
um,
I think
hmm,
he's got one book that's Doc Savage, at
hmm.
least.
It's a fun universe to write in. You just have to remember the rules are there so the readers don't go, oh no, they wouldn't say that way. Um, let's see. One fellow I do believe we know from LibertyCon that was writing the a lot of the James Axler Death Worlds books, and there's a friend of mine. Sadly, he is no longer with us. Who had all kinds of stuff that were in other people's universes, and man would turn out a book every 3 weeks, and the next one would be in a totally different universe. Just boom, boom, boom. Butt in chair fingers on keyboards. Turn in the manuscript when it's done. Um, didn't need much editing there by the time he got experienced at it too. It's you can make a living that way.
Hmm.
Uh, look at all the look at all the different romance writers from back in the day. Not the new ones because they're kind of changing it up a notch or two. But Barbara Cartland, things like that. Um,
The Harlequin
basically,
people, and
yeah, they'd write one manuscript, and too bad they didn't have a word processor to pull it back up and change all the names and the time period and the costumes
yep,
and the same dialogue from differently named characters, same book over and over again. I think it was Robert Heinlein that pointed out that yeah, you can write one story and file the serial numbers off and sell it to 6 or 8 different markets at the same time, and no one will ever notice because they're so widely divergent in the audience for those particular subgenres. I think it was also Heinlein that pointed out that actually knowing something about military matters is a handicap towards writing military fiction.
Now that I'll agree to you because you get too engrossed in doing that.
Towards writing
Apparently,
or towards selling,
um,
or both.
both, I would say. He phrased it very generally, but it was the people that think Hollywood movies are what people want to read and turn out Hollywood stereotype, this genre, that genre, the other genre, are the ones that wind up selling a lot of books, and the ones that actually have some experience and don't use the tropes and stereotypes the way people, a prospective reader, expected them to, sell a few less. Um, Although I do think that's turning around because there are a lot of ex-military people now that are writing um, military fiction, sci-fi, and otherwise. Oh, thesis, you do not need to have panic attacks over your writing. Believe me, you're a much better writer than I am a swordsman. Okay.
And that's what I told him. Keep submitting, and the panic will get smaller and smaller until it's gone.
Mm-hmm. No, I submitted a few things very, very early on before I actually knew anything about what I was doing. And I got some of the politest rejection slips ever. I think Ellen Datlow sent me the best one. And it wasn't even a form letter with her name stamped at the bottom. It was a handwritten letter. And it's still in a box somewhere if it didn't get burned up in the house fire several years back. Um, she said, this shows a lot of promise, but it also shows that you still have a lot to learn. Please don't stop writing. And when you have more experience, submit something else to us, and we will see if we can get you published. Or words to that effect. That's not an exact quote, but
Is that a chainmail ball sack, Rich?
No.
it's
Okay.
a tiny dice bag.
Yes.
For
So,
tiny die?
my normal. Oh, I guess. Come over
Oh, it's
here,
blurry?
and this is the full size flavor. I've been experimenting with, and this will hold 100 and some odd dice. So I've been experimenting with how many rounds and everything to make something smaller if someone doesn't need one for 100 and something. So this fits right now. It fits one set of 7 dice perfectly. So I need to add a couple more rows of height before adding some tabs. But I am also going to see about what it would look like if I went with going one more expansion round out and then building up.
You guys are so
Oh.
serious tonight.
Darker Angels is almost 10,000 words now. Had to put it on hold because I almost killed my main character. Welcome to my world. Yes, painfully pinchy. Hey, dude armor is a thing. I mean, really.
Yes, that's what I said. Some people might be into that.
I have seen some weightlifter types that were trying out the male version of the Red Sonja chainmail bikini armor,
Well,
and from what I read of the ladies commenting on those photographs, they really kind of liked it. So
you would also, put some type of fabric there because if you're outside and it's cold, that's frostburnt circles
sensitive
on the
skin.
throat is not a happy thing.
Uh,
Although having your spouse having to apply the topical ointments and things like that to repair the skin might lead to some interesting nights. Just
mhm.
remember your safe word. Um,
Safe word. We don't need no stinking safe word.
Oh, you say that now. Only got 13 dice in my collection, but I haven't played in over 4 years. Thesis: I never played RPG games all that much, but pretty dice has always been a weakness. I had an entire Crown Royal bag full of full of dice, including um, D6s made of jade and D4s made of amethyst, a token from a video game parlor, which was a D2, and a pair of D6s that didn't have any numbers on them. They just had a maze inside with one teeny tiny little ball bearing in there. Wherever that ball bearing was, the DM could bluff and say, okay, that's this number.
Misty has a set of Tiger's Eye in the tackle box that is right there that has a crap ton of Dungeons and Dragons minis in it. Um, I don't know where my main box of dice is. My main box of dice, I probably have over 500,
Oh
Hmm.
wow.
and
It's easy to accumulate.
that's
It
after
really
giving
is.
some away.
Now, let me take care of some executive business here.
No.
Relax. No, we cannot. You are quite welcome to hang out in the chat and prove you are not a Russian bot or a troll. And then once we get to know you, you might could get included. Uh, the rest of us had to go through it. Uh, Jade D6 has talked to her. Yeah. Um, Trouble is, it was not really, really good jade, and I can't use them anymore because it started to delaminate is not the right word, but the dice started chipping away and fragmenting. So I put them away and go, hey, they're lovely, but I can't use them. Now the amethyst is still going strong.
I bought a leather dice tray just because my hematite started to chip on my hematite ones.
Mm,
Now my hematite ones are full size. Misty's uh, Tiger's Eye are the teeny tiny ones that can probably fit inside the eye of this ring.
Now that I do know people that have gone the other way. A couple of friends of mine that are into gaming uh, did what is basically a cross between a LARP and D&D, and they had D20s about the size of a basketball.
Whoa.
Hey, they were handmade. They were might have been paper mache. I don't know, but they were handmade, and basically all the dice that they used were oversized so that there was no hiding behind the screen for the DMs and the players. So it was all right there, and it was also um, almost like a random number generator. They'd roll the d20, and each whatever the facet that came up, that number indicated this scenario instead of all the rest of them on this list, and it just kind of progressed from there. Um,
Yeah, at NDCDCon or NDCD.con is that what it was called? Whatever.
mhm.
The the last one that Nick had put on in Fowler when Chris came up. Um, one of the participants there made one out of yarn and the the plastic
Mhm.
little uh, fiber art framework things like that. That they had a beautiful um, D20 that at the end of the night we were just rolling it just to roll it. I I don't remember how much it would have cost to buy it, but it was insanely high. But the amount of work that went into it, I fully understand why it was that high. It's just
Uh-huh.
that I didn't have that kind of money to spend on something like that. So, but yeah,
Oh,
that was about the size of a basketball.
his thesis is he's got a 3D printed pick of destiny that he bought as a prop for his board that unfortunately he never got to play.
I am so glad you read that because without my glasses on, I put an R in there.
Um, Believe me, for some of the bards that I've known, that R would have been necessary.
That R would have been understood.
uh, oh.
Oh, it's
But
been so long.
they were still popular. Uh,
It's been so long since I've seen my dice. I don't know where they are, what they are. I do remember a couple of them are purple, but that's about all I remember.
mm, now we used to go
I
to what popularly was called a head shop,
Hmm.
and it was there was one in the mall, there was one across from a restaurant right outside the University of Georgia arches there on Old Campus, and basically whatever your little old heart desired was inside those glass shelves and countertops.
have a
Even
D4
if
that
your
is older
desires
than
were a
Dawn.
little bit off the beaten path.
I've got a D4 that's older than Dawn.
Oh, I think all my dice are older than Dawn.
This, this Christmas, I'll have had that D4 for 46 years.
Mm. And Thesis, you go ahead and put that R in that phrase, and I think you've got a story idea right there. You might even have fun writing that one. You go, I can't wait till people read this.
A couple different
Uh,
ways you can go with that as well. It could be the personality or it could be a body part.
or it could be a knitting needle that has a spell on it. Anything. I mean, hey, y'all give me a writing prompt. I'm here. Um,
A poisoned ring to assassinate the evil queen.
anything, yeah. Uh,
Ruus Paulus. Sorry, wrong kind of queen.
uh,
I have nothing against RuPaul. It's just
I
that
don't either. I don't either. It's not my cup of tea. But Lindsay is got a
It's
real
just
fondness for the drag
Drag
queen
Race.
performers.
It's RuPaul leapt to my brain just mere nanoseconds before Freddie Mercury, so it's the first thing that escaped my lips.
I haven't watched those shows, but I've seen parts of them, and man, those guys that fly in the air and then do the splits,
Mm.
I'm like, dang. I mean, I did the splits as a young girl in dance class, but we never had to land down like that. Oh, crap. Excuse me for a moment. I gotta go save a cat.
Oh,
I did the splits a couple years ago, not on purpose.
mm. um, there's an apocryphal story about a performance by a female artist, and she has a very salty line of patter in between songs while she's on stage. And I haven't the finished idea if there's even a grain of truth in this, but apparently, in one part of her act, she would drop an apple onto the stage, do the splits on top of it, then stand back up, and the apple would not be there anymore.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one too.
Oh, you've seen that one? Okay. Hey, I thought it was just a story somebody made up.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, no. Where did that? I think I found that on YouTube once. There's probably. We have two male cats who are in a love hate relationship. The least graceful of the two was on top of the railing doing the wobble bit that he does, and the other one was down below going, I just pushed just right.
Go for it. Take a flying
If
risk.
I do it, I get a whooping. I do
I
it.
do it.
Yep.
I back when I first got into the company that I started supporting the firm through, um, we did not have, did not have to have professional email addresses. They were all our own personal Yahoo and wherever the hell we had email
Mhm.
addresses. One of my managers, his email address was I done doed it.
uh,
Still friends with that man on Facebook today, and I love him to death. He is just
That's probably
a
why.
fun breath of fresh air, and he is the one that imparted my love of Excel on me.
Mm.
oh, I tell you,
Admirable fellow.
when Red Skelton would do the mean little kid and he'd say the line, my mom would just look at me. She wouldn't say a thing, but she'd just look at me. Yeah, I probably did it. When you're the last one at home, something happens, you got no one to blame.
Well, you know, if it were me, I'd probably have to look back and go, you keep saying it was a five and dime Christmas sale. It's not my fault you didn't get what you wanted. The good ones were all sold out by Thanksgiving. I'd probably get myself punished for that, but
Oh, my pop always used to tell me they got me at the five and dime, and I was worth the whole nickel they spent.
all right, I am going to go down the hall and
You're muted, Dan. I see you grinning. Ah, so, what do we want to talk about, Rich?
Whatever you want to talk about. I'm. Let's see. 11,
What if Mike
12,
Jimmy's
14
still
hours.
here? Have you heard about Don's and my shenanigans in the humidor at Benny's in Peoria?
A little bit.
Oh.
Because you were talking about that in the green room we had just after everything last night, right?
Yeah, probably. I think we were talking about doing burning his yarn too, Don and I. Yeah. Can't go into Benny's humidor. It's kept locked. You have to ring the little doorbell, and someone comes and lets you in and stays in there while you're in there, and writes down all your cigars that you get and puts it in a bag. And this guy comes in, probably mid-30s, hair down to here, nice little beard. When Carl said he reminded him of Mike Jimmy, and I'm like, beefed up, maybe. I think he was more along the body shape and the hair shape of Jason Mimosa. With
Okay.
the really thick hair that you see on the Maui's, and then there was a couple little banana curls here, and very nice guy, you know. I turned around and whispered to Dawn, "Wouldn't you just like to run your fingers through that hair and beard?" And she said, "Yeah." Yeah. And I had, he goes, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll make it cigar related." And asked him if he'd seen the purple labeled Camachos, and he goes into this little explanation of why they don't carry Camachos, and I'm like, that's a little more than I wanted. All I wanted was a yes or no on my purple label. But okay, we'll talk about that a little bit. And then later, after we got our cigars and we're ready to go, up near the front door had been a station of THC products, which I'm going to have to look at the Benny's in Champaign to see if they have that. But they had margarita mix in a can, little 4-pack, and something mule, not Moscow mule, but same idea. And I'm like, oh, well, that does look interesting, but I don't know what's in a Moscow mule. And I did not go to the customer service just because Conrad was there talking to the gentleman. But, I went up and asked, what's the difference between a margarita and a mule? And and Conrad spoke up and very nicely told me what was in a Moscow mule. And I'm like,
Really cold cocaine?
Yeah. I said, that sounds interesting enough. I think I'll get the mule. So I went and got the 4-pack of mule. And what's interesting was we checked out, and I saw her scan the cans before she put it in, before she and then she did something on the computer. Like I thought she might have chosen. Maybe both the types of came up, and she chose the mule one. Paid for it, and after I got home, I used this app called Fetch, where you
Mm-hmm.
scan things. Yeah, okay. And I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like, wait a minute. It's $90. I got 8 cigars at roughly $10 a piece. Where's the other? And that's the tax, and the drinks are nowhere on my receipt. So if I hate it, at least I didn't pay for it.
I had one down at the convenience store the other day. Um, I watched on the readout as the lady scanned my items, and she rang it up, and I looked and I go, "Oh wait, um, the uh, the bottle of wine didn't scan. I don't see it on the list." She goes, "No, no, I scanned it. I scanned it." I go, "But I don't want to get you in trouble. You'll have to pay for that if you let me walk out of here and not pay for something."
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "No, no, it's on there. It's on." I look down. Turns out the bottle of wine was listed under high tax.
Mm.
I'm going, "That's a cheap ass bottle of wine. You go call it high tax?"
Well, usually I watch the computer screen, but Dawn and I were too busy still discussing Conrad. I know I saw her scan the can. She turned it around and scanned it, and I saw her do something on the computer screen, like I say, like she was choosing which one it was,
Hmm.
but it evidently didn't take. And I didn't know that till I got back to Danville. Well,
Or she decided you bought enough cigars where you got a discount, and it got scanned for the cash register and then removed on your bill.
didn't even show up on my bill, but could be because we do have a Benny's membership card. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, if
Now
Aunt
I know
Donna's high tomorrow night in the green room, it's not because of the fireball.
I know that people have been telling me that it's legal in Georgia to order those um, a certain variety of THC gummies. And I'm
Mm,
going,
no,
don't, no, not
no.
taking any chances.
This There are CBD gummies that do not have the THC in it. The THC is what's in the weed that gets you high,
Yes.
but the CBD will help with pain.
Okay, well, that would be the ones I'm looking for. And Lindsay too. Now that she's getting repetitive motion from the knitting,
Mm-hmm.
she's got herself convinced that once she finishes this sweater she's working on, she will never be able to knit again because it's too much pain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the reason I brought this up is because the convenience store at the end of the road now has a glass case full of gummies
Mm-hmm.
calling themselves Delta 8. And I'm going, um, y'all are also selling bongs and vapes. And I know for a fact, even though I've never been back there, there's about half a dozen gambling machines in the back. and several cops that come there every day um, on their rounds to pick up a drink to
Hmm.
finish their
Your best
shift.
bet would be a natural health food store.
Yeah,
That's
um,
where I get my CBD stuff without the THC.
yeah. Now there was a time when I was at work, I would mail order CBD oil,
Hmm.
and it did wonders for my arthritis. And it didn't take very much at all. A bottle of that stuff, a couple of drops once a day. Oh, it was like continuously popping painkillers. They just never wore off.
Hmm.
But you know, I got worried because the company I worked for did not care if it was something that was legal and over the counter. If they ran you through a drug test and that drug test was not carefully designed,
Hmm.
it would give a false positive.
Yeah, like the ones that give you a false positive if you eat a poppy seed.
Yeah,
Remember
exactly.
that? Remember when that happened?
Uh-huh. That's why I'm glad that all of management went over the poppy seed bagels like a flock of locusts. I'm going, hey, yeah, if I'm going to have to take a test, so are you.
Oh, yeah, but now you don't have to worry about that.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Um, but some habits are ingrained. There
True.
is there is an element of paranoia that having been a college kid in the 70s and it being a different century has not had enough time to pass to wear off. But
I didn't say use the THC. I said use the CBD.
I know, but in the back of my mind, it's conflated. I know it isn't the same thing, but the fear says it's the same thing. So,
It's nature's aspirin.
hmm uh, Thesis has a fear of submitting stuff to somebody, and I have a fear of somebody not being able to administer a drug test worth a damn. Uh,
You're not going to have any more drug tests.
one would hope not, but given where I live,
Not for work, at least.
not for work, no. Um,
I have a fear one of these days I'm really going to lose my temper and pop somebody, but then again.
I get the feeling if you do, they were asking for it the whole time.
Hey, can you believe that I've made it through almost 68 years of life and oh wait a minute, there was that kid back in 5th grade. Never mind. Okay, once in almost 68 years. Not bad considering my
Mm.
temperament.
You got the red hair for a reason, honey.
Yep.
Oh, okay. We haven't been going that long at all. Just 1 hour. Okay. I get so programmed by doing two shows.
Mhm.
And here we are this week, only one show per night. I'm going, oh, God, I've been on since 9. No, I haven't. Uh, One thing I have been avoiding current events videos on YouTube.
Oh
About
yeah.
half of them seemed inclined to inflame people, and the other half are just seem to be insulting people's intelligence.
Mhm.
And I'm just looking at it and I'm going, no, no, no. Oh, that's an archaeology video. No, that didn't happen. That's an astronomy video. No, that satellite has not come back to Earth. Um, there are people that still posting things like Oumuamua returns. It didn't. Or Voyager is now orbiting Earth. No, it isn't. Do you know how much fuel they'd have to do to slow that thing down and turn it around? Uh, You'd have to have a
I mean,
Saturn V hooked up to it just to make a dent in its delta V.
technically, it could be just a really, really, 5 billion year orbit.
I don't think I'll see
Depending
the
how
return
gravity and everything is
flight.
next to it. Yeah. Not even sure the Earth will see the return flight.
Oh, thesis, yeah. Watch flat Earth videos for entertainment. I watch all kinds of conspiracy theory videos for just the sheer entertainment value of. Wait a minute, y'all actually believe this stuff?
I watch flat earthers get debunked. One of my favorite things to do is, even though I work for attorneys, watch people behave badly without attorneys,
Mm.
Oh yeah.
or
Uh,
watching attorneys behave badly. That's fun too. Watching judges go off on attorneys because it's like, you're trying to do what? How do you think that? Well, no, that's not how the law reads.
It's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
oh, and there's a fellow that I really, really admire. His name is Milo Rossi, and he debunks pseudo archaeology and some of the ancient astronaut stuff
And
and
some flat earth stuff too.
flat earth stuff too. Yeah, and um,
It doesn't make it into his stuff as much as the other stuff, but it's shown up.
mm, and he actually talks with a vocabulary and mannerisms that I would have found endearing even at the factory, because it is indeed industrial language. So, um, if I was able to give out honorary degrees, I'd give him a PhD in industrial language. Uh, oh dear, and he turned me on to a lady from the Netherlands that does history as well, and she is not forgiving for people that have unprovable, uh, non-supported theories about things. She is really, really got everything on the ball. Um, and at the moment, I cannot remember her name. Thank you, Aphasia, for affecting me so badly. Um, Let me reboot YouTube here. Maybe she'll have a video just up, or I'd look at her in my subscriptions, because I did subscribe to her. Uh,
And look at you guys watching all these shows, and I'm back here watching Brad Williams and Josh Wolf and Henry Cho, Ron Wright.
hey, I love Henry Cho.
He
I got a
always,
lot of that stuff in my stuff too. So
Um, I mean, Henry Cho and I could have been neighbors up in the Knoxville area. We got the same accent.
Uh,
Well, your guys' pops has worked at the same place, so
Evidently, yes. I was previously unaware of that, and that does explain an awful lot. Uh, I can't find her on here. Uh, I know it's here. I just haven't scrolled down far enough yet. That's what I get for subscribing to almost 500 channels.
hey, Kiri.
It does mean that almost every day I've got something to watch. I mean, there's a guy over in I believe it's over in England that rebuilds salvaged military tanks for fun.
Oh,
And
oh, dear Dan,
yes,
who loves the Oxford comma. I am vindicated.
oh
I was watching Midsummer Murders,
yes,
and this lady um, received an anonymous note telling her that the man she was going to marry went out with. Don't remember the names, but I'll just say Catherine Smith, Jill Young, and Tammy White, with commas after the first two girls. And then
yeah.
she figured out that yeah, this is her children, and she's reading them the riot act. And as she goes to storm out the window, she throws the letter down and says, "And you don't need the comma before the and. It's redundant." So
In England, it
there.
is. Nope, I've got all the way down to the ones that are in foreign languages now, and I do not recognize her name. But that's neither here nor there. Uh,
There are
let me.
just times when it's not needed before the and in a simple list. I know you've got commas all through your sentences.
Hell, I just have a box of them. I throw at the screen, and whichever ones stick. That's it's the editor's job to figure that out. I don't have a degree. Uh,
Ooh, that's what I need to throw at Carl.
what?
I've got the English degree. I'm correct. When we have an Oxford comma discussion.
Yeah, and he'll still put them back in when your back is turned.
No, I won't, because he knows better.
Mm.
Did you say hello to Kiri?
No, I didn't. Thank you.
Kiri,
Thank you. Hi, Kiri. Good to see you.
howdy, Carrie.
Uh, thesis: people behaving badly. Period is hilarious at times. Just depends on the repercussions. When Joe Dog was here for a little while, I see.
mm-hmm. Hiding in the bushes, he said.
Huh? Buy a
Maybe.
hedge trimmer, dude. Not
Trying
touching that
to
one out, Richie.
trying to behave. Trying to behave.
Not the
uh,
green room.
will be tomorrow.
Then you
Well,
can
when you're
say all
that
you want.
short, that's as far as you come up. Sorry.
Oh, I like this one. There you go, thesis.
Jesus has a
I
show
I
this weekend.
Yes. I've got it on watch later. I didn't want to go ahead and open it up on, I think
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday was when I saw the link. because we did have the storm today, and it probably would have gotten the. I was dreading if the electricity went off. The worst that happened was that my monitor rebooted, but the computer didn't.
Mm,
So the
wow.
video I was in the middle of watching, I could still hear the audio while the monitor rebooted. Oh, and here's one that I made for Uncle Carl. Hey, and I've got Richie's original. I'm glad to see that someone turned that into a corner logo that can be used in different shows. That was nicely done. I
Thank you.
admire that.
Now we need one for Friday nights to say it is the green room.
Not that. Oh wait, it is.
That's one of our hashtags last week. And then
Somewhere, I think I have a sign that says, "Oh wait, it is the green room. We're screwed." I think I have that. I think I created that for OBS. I'll see if I still have that there and bring that over.
Yeah.
But yes, you have the original. So do I.
Yeah. Well, no,
I
you
have
have
the
the
actual
original.
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 mhm.
I have the. I believe it was a JPEG that you created from scanning the original hand drawn.
And then I've got a couple of PNGs as well that have better actual computer colorization. And I got to be careful about talking with my hands, otherwise my thing is going to start moving.
I saw that.
Oh yeah, you got something to worry about. I almost hit end stream instead of click back to comments. Uh,
Why
don't want
should
to be.
you not follow the crowd?
Uh,
Anyway, going further into the weekend, this is the weekend also for Cryptid Crunch, part 2 of Won't You Join Our Cult?
is it part 2? I thought it was a part 3.
Yeah, part 2.
Okay.
I can double check it, but
It might be labeled part 2, but to the best of my recollection, they've already done cults and more cults 2 weeks, 2 shows in a row now.
no, this will be the second one.
I could be wrong. I could be living in an alternate timeline, which is entirely possible. You've read my work.
Joe had a Burning His Love test stream earlier that we missed because we didn't know it was going to be up. We're going to have a talk with that boy.
Was it only brief?
Only 58 minutes.
Oh, that's not brief at all.
Seeing if his Mac is behaving again. Was that what he is doing?
Yeah.
Had to put it in a Faraday cage to preserve it from the Nick field.
Pour some
Yeah.
holy oil in it and make it, turn away from being the Satan box.
You try convincing anybody that favors that brand.
Okay,
And
looking
once
at
again, we're back to cults.
Yes.
looking at the titles of the show. Nope. Last week was the first Want to Join Our Crypt and a Cult, and this coming Sunday is Want to Join Our Cult Part 2. They have spoken of cults before, but not in depth like they did.
Not have a whole show themed around it. Okay. It was a tiny sliver of an alternate universe.
And our head cultist will not be there. If you remember from the last show, that other lady is taking her place for a while.
The Peppermint Princess is on hiatus? Or sabbatical?
No, Keisha is.
Okay.
She's too busy setting her children on fire with fireworks.
What?
She set the oldest on fire.
You know, the one that levitates through the barn when nobody's looking. Um,
Oh, okay. I thought the oldest, not okay.
No, not the boy, the oldest girl, and I can't remember her name.
Uh, Dolores.
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 Yes,
Dolores.
yes.
Dolores, because she shares the name with my late aunt, who is one of my favorite aunts.
I bet your aunt didn't go floating through the barn.
But yeah, they were shooting off
She,
fireworks on the farm, and one went Dolores' way. She got put out. But she wasn't hurt. That's the important thing. That's why we can laugh about it.
Keisha said, "Hey, it was one of mine." Uh,
did she at least have a fire extinguisher close at hand? After
Uh,
that long lecture I gave her about fucking fire extinguishers.
yeah,
uh,
with
she,
the what the pellet
Wood stove.
stove setting the house on fire.
they don't have
Yeah.
that pellets. They replaced that stove, fortunately.
Yeah.
But
I
I don't think she caught on fire. On fire, it's just some sparks got on her.
mm,
But of course, you've got to embellish the story. It sounds better to say she caught her child on fire.
Oh, well, CPS is watching.
Family and Children's Services have been warned to stay away from Keisha's house. I think Keisha's husband sent them a copy of that Stephen King movie, Firestarter. Don't don't come here. Our little girl does not need you.
You won't be able to find her anyway because she'll be levitating through the trees.
Hmm.
All right. Need to watch that one later. Threatening the DA via social media. I need to check out that video later.
That does not sound like it's going to end well for whoever is making the threats, unless
Sounds
they
like
happen
it's
to
going
be
to
a
end very
judge.
well for whoever's watching the shit show go down.
Really. Um,
I need to get popcorn.
yeah, I think the jury thought the same thing, probably. Um, Bailiff, can we get an order of popcorn here?
And it is a Kansas DA. I recognize the DA in the video.
Oh,
She,
okay.
she's in a lot of the videos that I watch where the judge um, goes to town on uh, pro ses and south sits and stuff like that. But she kills him with kindness. She's a really super nice judge, and she tries to give people as many breaks as possible. And it causes another one of the prosecutors just to you can see him slowly dying inside and short circuiting, and he just has a very bow tie, glasses, just very rarely shows personality. I'm not sure he's not AI. Um,
Kiri, that's a good question, which I guess I have to address. Um, no, we don't have stupid o'clock for a while. Unfortunately, we don't know how long that while will be. And I got official permission this week to go ahead and do Last Man Standing. I thought about shifting the time so that we started at the stupid o'clock normal times, and I didn't have to stay up till 1 a.m. on Sunday. But I
That might
decided
screw with people.
it might indeed, and
So
it might.
you're gonna have
That
people
might be
looking
fun.
for you at the
Hey,
regular times who may not be looking for stupid o'clock and miss you totally.
that is why I scheduled the Saturday night show or the Sunday morning show for the normal time. Um, I also figured that the same phenomenon that occurred that is causing the hiatus might reoccur in that same time frame, even
Or that
though
was
it's
just
my show. And just it's better to just go ahead and keep it on the regular time frame where people are used to looking for it. If they miss stupid o'clock that much, they know how to contact that showrunner.
Hmm.
catch it in reruns.
Hey, yeah, will, except for the last week, it got removed. Um,
Well,
and that was purely
there's still plenty of a back catalog.
Hmm.
almost
Four
5 years
years,
worth,
5.
4 years and a bit. Um,
Year and change since I joined the.
mhm.
Oh shit! No,
And
almost 2 years.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, it was removed as a preventative measure. I do believe I had not noticed before Uncle Carl mentioned it, but let's just say current events are entirely too volatile at this time. And none of us can refuse from adding our own 2 cents and some more gasoline to that particular fire.
Things
So
you
we
So,
say that
won't be
might affect
doing
the
that.
brand, and we want to make sure that we
no,
don't affect the brand,
yeah,
especially
exactly.
this close to.
Hallowcon, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I do not want to threaten Helicon in any way, shape, or form. Um, it's too important as being the only other con I go to now besides LibertyCon, seeing as how um, we can't get the Atlanta steampunk conventions to be held anywhere but Atlanta. Um, and I do not want to be driving in Atlanta anymore for the rest of my life. I
it'll
will if
be
I have
the
to, but
first non-local con I've attended in almost 20 years.
you will have fun. Believe me.
I consider NixCon still semi-local,
Yeah,
Hmm.
so that's why I'm not counting that as a non-local con. That's you know. Plus, I mean, it's run by one of my best friends, so I mean,
yeah. Even if you have to drive a bit, it's family, so it's still local. I mean, I have
and
to.
half the participants are family anyway. So I mean, not blood, but they're family.
Hmm.
Believe me, your family is about to increase in size once you get to Helicon.
It's not going to increase in size. It's going to be the same size. It's just I finally get to see you guys face to face.
Oh
Y'all
no,
been family for a while.
it will increase in size.
Well, okay, yeah, that
There
people
are
I
those.
haven't met yet. Okay,
Yep,
I'll give you that.
there are those of us that you have yet to meet that will become quite important to you. Um,
Yeah, Misty's freaking. What if they don't like me? Then fuck them.
Hmm.
I mean, not that way. I mean, we don't have that kind of marriage.
no,
Um,
I'm not saying
Well,
anything. What?
Hey, nothing against people that have that kind of
there's
marriage.
nothing wrong with that,
Whatever works. It's
as long as it's
Misty and I are too jealous
consensual. I
for
mean,
something like that to work.
seriously. Um,
I love how y'all talking over each other like that. Nothing.
Do you like it when we're tripping over each other to try to
Mhm.
backpedal?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not backpedaling. I'm reinforcing. Um,
You call it what you
Exactly.
will, honey.
hey,
It's
look, you know my reasons.
Yes.
I know plenty of people that have that kind of stuff that works. Some people included in this conversation. Um, I I've seen it implode marriages because they thought it would be cool and they just weren't mature enough to do it properly. Misty and I are way too jealous for even a contemplation of that kind of relationship. So
I'm not too jealous. I'm just stingy. I ain't sharing Lindsay with anybody. Uh,
I will admit I'm a very jealous and overprotective individual. Okay.
Kiri, yes, you have
You
been to a
better, better.
convention before. I can tell. And sorry, not going to post that one, but I agree with you. I'm not going to remove it from the comment section, though. It has
There
been
there are
recorded.
there are some people who probably record doing that and make something on their OF channel.
And there are people that bring their own camper type vehicles just so that they
Oh
don't have to
God.
worry about the hotel rooms.
Anyway,
Hey,
so evidently y'all are stealing Dawn. You want her down there Thursday, I think she said. So she
oh,
won't be
for
riding
the
down with us.
what you gonna do?
I don't
Fly
know.
down?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I thought you meant with Hallowcon.
When they
Yeah.
come for you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey,
She's gonna fly down, ride home with us, and then we're gonna figure out some way of getting her back to Peoria.
I want to be there to watch Chris and John arm wrestle for the privilege of picking her up at the airport. Um, this will be a throwdown.
Oh, no. If John volunteers to go pick her up, I'm sure Chris will go with him just to.
Just to make sure she gets to the hotel. John is a
I,
very
I see
responsible
John
guy.
going with Chris, saying, "Chris, you have to run a van. I have to hide in the back."
Pops!
Hey, Pops, how you doing?
Well, he has had a whole year to plan on getting his vengeance for last year. I'm pretty sure Chris is not going to let him be alone in the car with Don.
Had a cup of ice, or a 55-gallon drum of ice, for that matter. I want to see the looks on the faces of the people in the Waffle House when we all troop back in for that breakfast, and
We'll
the
take this whole
waitresses are going
quarter.
to go, "Oh, we remember you."
Damn, you're all back.
Hey, it works. They know they're
Remember, we
going to
will
get
have
a
a
great tip.
17-year-old in tow this
Let's
next
see.
time.
Let's see if I remember right. It's capped, smothered, and covered, right?
With mushrooms
Mushrooms,
and
cheese.
cheese and onions.
Maybe. I don't remember.
I do not know the lingo. I just go,
John would know.
yes, John would know. I'm not John.
And so does Chris.
I, I would just look at the thing. Give me a number 5. All the way. whatever it is.
Oh, that reminds me. While Pro was getting their knee worked on, because we had to leave as early, Misty and I did not consume anything, and we were also not wanting to pick up anything on the way because we figured that would just be cruel because Crow wasn't allowed to eat anything because they were going under anesthesia.
Mm-hmm.
So where a Baker's Square used to be is now a place called Sophia's Famous Pancakes. So we're like, Misty was wanting either pancakes or French toast, so she was thinking hot cakes at McDonald's or French toast sticks from Burger King, and we saw that, and I'm like, huh? So we went there.
Really?
It was tasty as all get out. I ordered way too much food.
Always.
Because I'm like, country fried steak, smothered in gravy. Yeah. I didn't realize that it came with 4 eggs. And then, of course, hash browns. And then, I got a side of biscuits and gravy to go with it. Because originally I saw biscuits and gravy. I'm like, I haven't had biscuits and gravy in forever. So let's just go order some biscuits and gravy. Then flipping through a little bit more, I saw that. And I'm like, ooh. And then I'm like, you know what? A side of bacon and a side of sausage links. And yeah. I ate maybe half my hash browns, 1 of the eggs, not even a quarter of the country fried steak, because also the Ozempic makes it hard to eat as much as I should. But 1 of the biscuits and stuff like that, and had plenty to take home. It's just like, it was so good. And while I was there, I'm like, wait, what? So I thought Misty's phone was starting to play something because I heard something coming over her phone speaker. And then I realized it was someone on the other side of the divider right behind me. And I'm just sitting there going, at least it's not porn this time.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
If I go to another breakfast place like that and I hear something like that, I'm just going to start developing a nervous tick because it's like, all right, every time I show up to one of these, this is what happens. No, we don't want that programming. But again, at least this time, it wasn't porn,
Yeah.
But you're listening to music and you're like, okay, everything's cool or whatever, and something's just off, and it's like that doesn't sound right. Why does it sound off? And then all of a sudden, just a pause, and then just that sound clip. Yeah. Misty still pokes fun at me for that to this day.
Okay,
Like
hash
she poked that
browns.
fun at me today.
Hash browns. We have smothered, which yes is sautéed onions, covered melted cheese. Capped is the mushrooms. Chunked grilled hickory smoked ham. Diced grilled tomatoes. Peppered spicy jalapeno peppers. Topped with birch chili. Oh, and a new one, country with sausage gravy on the top. You can have your hash browns regular, large, triple, or all the way.
Oh, Richie is having a heart attack right now.
No, my diabetes is saying yes. Feed me, fat boy. Feed me.
I don't like hash browns, but I do like Waffle House because of the smothered, covered, and capped. I might have to do that ham thing.
Yeah. And depending on who is the cook that day in that particular location, because they do vary from place to place.
Hmm.
There are times when I have gotten an excellent omelet from a Waffle House, and there are times when I have gone to a specialty restaurant that has an omelet cook and turned out something that I ate that wasn't as good as that Waffle House.
Hmm.
It was still edible and delicious, but
And I just found out that there's a Waffle House over in Indy. All right. That's only 90 minutes away.
Mm,
I cannot always do the proper omelet flip,
hmm
and everything like that. But turning it into a scramble with all the stuff for the omelets
hmm
into the scramble, I I'm a decent um scramble cook.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Gallagher used to have a routine comparing um, let me do this justice. A thoughtful lover to someone making a quiche. And basically, just, getting the quiche exactly right, exactly right, exactly right. I can't wait any longer. It's going to be scrambled eggs. Um,
Yeah, I can't flip them either, so I just stopped even trying. Just throw everything in the pan.
oh, yeah.
It
Now,
depends
Lindsay,
on sometimes. Yeah, I've done some really good omelets, and I have to have the right pan.
mm,
Yeah, but you're a cook and I'm not.
Lindsay does some fantastic crepes. They are basically scrambled eggs in a pancake that is thin enough to read through,
Hmm.
and she will load it up with uh, jam or marmalade and sprinkle on a little bit of sugar and roll it up and just the entire. I'm going, yeah, you did spend a lot of time going across the channel to France, didn't you? You got to be an expert in this stuff. Um, oh, oh dear. Uh, yeah, I just read Thesis's last comment. I'm going, hmm.
I was kind of ignoring it.
Well, there are hotels where you're in your room and suddenly discover your pay-per-view in the other room. Uh,
As long as what you're recording isn't my parents were good. I've dealt with that enough.
it's probably way too late for me to have even met your parents if I owned a time machine, so don't worry about it. Um, and believe me, if I'd been the camera operator, it probably would have had a better soundtrack. Um,
As we actually locate the tape, and in the bottom it says, videographer, Dan Hollifield, 2025. What?
yeah, 2085. Uh,
An
I'm under
hour.
contract and expires with Swan. Um, oh, that's too many references right there. Um, dear, 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 dear.
Kiri, I think you ought to try that.
Um, actually, Kiri, I won't say a lot, but some of the people that make a living vending from different cons to different cons, they actually have either a bus or a very, very large camper hauling a trailer, and they don't. Um, I don't know what the hotel does when somebody pulls up with their own room. I think they might actually, as cheap as the Hallowcon rooms are, they might get a room just for the hot shower and not have to use the gas or whatever in their camper.
I wonder how much it would cost to rent one and take one down. We wouldn't have to worry about rest stops.
Yeah.
Well, you can always get an estimate.
Just remember, cruise control is not the same thing as autopilot. You can't set the switch and then go make a sandwich.
Oh no! If I had to go, we'd have to pull to the side, and we'd have to pull to the side for some point in time. But we could just pull to a rest stop, crash out. I mean,
and
as long as the fuel price and the rental price wasn't too stupid,
I would say look into it, but expect that it might be out of your range, because rental and fuel together, that could be excessive.
Yeah, depending on what the consumption is for the vehicle. But I mean, wouldn't have to worry about the room rental.
Mm-hmm.
Just tickets, fuel, the rental of the vehicle, and whatever food we want to come down, and we wouldn't have to stop at any drive-throughs or anything like that. Misty could make something in the back while we're driving. Granted, it's going to be like microwave or whatever. It's she's not going to be cooking a meal back there or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of Hot Pockets or some French bread pizzas or something. I mean,
And Thesis, I'm not ignoring your comment. I'm just not going to post it. It's there. It's in the permanent record. Oh my God, I haven't thought about that thing in years. I wonder what my permanent record actually
Last time you and Foxy went to a hockey game, you were taped. No, never mind.
Oh Lord.
All right, time to tell on my ex-roommate. So the only other time I moved out, other than moving out to, finally live with Misty, after we got married. Friend of mine and her fiance had signed the lease. He turned into a complete psychopath. She got him kicked out, got his name dropped off the lease. She couldn't afford the lease, so she asked me if I'd move in. So I moved in, and I had one rule. Not while I'm home. I'm home 4 hours a day. Not while I'm home. Apparently, when she reached climax, she would giggle like a schoolgirl. And she ended up getting with one of my friends from high school. And they're actually married now with a kid. They've been married for, I think, 25 years now or something like that. Things are going good for them. Maybe even longer than 25. Crap, I don't remember exactly when they got married. But still, it's I would get woke up to him going to town and then her. It's like one thing I ask of you, not while I'm home. Half an hour, I'm gone. You couldn't wait half an hour.
Evidently not.
You know I don't sleep very deeply. I almost said something else and caught it just before it came out and was, a very not the green room kind of thing. But it's one frickin' favor I ask is just not while I'm home. I don't care if you guys do it. I don't care if you do it in any other room in the house except for my bedroom. Do not do it in my bedroom. The only person that should be having sex in my bedroom is me. But I don't care if you do it bathroom, hall, any of the closets, dining room table. I don't care. Just not while I'm home, not in my room. As far as I know, they at least acquiesce to the not in my room.
As far as you know.
No, if they didn't acquiesce to that, they at least did a very good job of cleaning up after themselves. But yeah,
There
I
was
mean, sorry.
no. I didn't mean to interrupt. There was one thing that I learned a long time ago. Um, and not from the inside looking out, but if you are on vacation in Daytona, even if you are on the top floor of a hotel, please close the curtains into your room because people do walk by, and some of them are young and impressionable teenagers who don't own a
And
camera at this time.
and you can catch charges for that.
Yeah. Oh dear. Let's just say
Okay, I've got a note on that thesis.
So do I.
Good. Maybe one of us will remember to look at our notes.
let's just say that I highly regretted that camcorders had not been invented in that decade, and
I'm glad that
if I had stood there for like 30 seconds longer, I might have learned even more. But let's just say the technique looked intriguing, but I can't find it anywhere in the Kama Sutra. Uh,
no, I'm just glad they didn't have camcorders where my parents were dating.
oh, me too.
I don't know if I've shown you guys this or talked about this to you guys. I am so happy. I found dry erase note cards.
Oh,
You made a
oh,
post about those. Where'd you get
I
those?
love these. Amazon. So not only are there these in white, but there was a set of 200 in various colors.
Oh,
oh, that looks nice.
Yes. So Richie is
I could save
doing.
a fortune in post-it notes for Lindsay telling me your coffee is ready when she's left for church.
So I've got a little note here for, what color means what. So, like the light purple cards are locations. So I'll jot down locations so that as I'm doing my 5 things, my not necessarily inspiration builder, but just the things to prime the pump. What would be 5 interesting locations for a story? What would be 5 interesting times for a story? Things of that nature. So like red are like twists. Like one of my twists is Hitler's brain in a jar. Another one is they were dead all along. Just weird little
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. Yellow are various cultures. Not necessarily nationalities, not necessarily communities or stuff like that. What kind of communities, kind of a thing. Like one of the cultures I have written down is geek. Of course, it was written down that way because I was writing too fast and missed the hour for Greek. But I'm like, you know what? It stands.
It works, yes. Um,
But genre mixins, main genres, just so that if I'm stuck for something, I've got a random builder that go, okay, grab this. All right, make something work.
Mm. Yeah, my first attempt at a novel, I took a writer's tip from David Gerald and wrote out ideas on file cards and
Well, that's what you
shuffled them until I finally got all of those ideas in a logical order that would tell the story, and then proceeded to outline the story. Um,
Oh, apparently when I cut, I flipped them over. Whoops.
that outline for a novel never got finished because I got well, the outline got finished. The fleshing out of the actual story never got finished because I was reading through what I had done, which was supposed to be different chapters of a connective story, and I go, I don't know enough about writing yet. I think I'll switch over to short stories so that I can learn more faster.
Hmm.
And it worked.
Well, I use these little cards, and I don't pay anything for them because there are some 5 packs of cigars that come with with this piece of paper on the back of them to keep them. I don't know, keep them safe. I don't know. But instead of just throwing them away, I stick them over to the side, and then if I need to write a note, I use that.
No. Lindsay and I go through hundreds of post-it notes every year. And those dry erase cards would save us a ton of money. Just going,
We
hey,
go through hundreds of packs of post-it notes because they just walk away. So I'm glad that the firm will pay for them now.
it's if they weren't always. Better living through stealing office supplies.
So yeah, it's firm's paying for these too. But I do use these for work as well, not just
Yeah.
my own stuff.
Oh, last year at Hallowcon, I was sitting there. I had a whole pack of just regular file cards. One side blank white, the other side lined. I turned it to the blank side, and I was doing little cartoons on them. I'm not that good a cartoonist, but I come up with some interesting ideas that I can throw a scribble on there that Nick Tucker would go, needs work, but it got the point across, and I just randomly hand that out to people. And 5 minutes later, I had another one I needed to get rid of because I didn't want to take them home. What am I going to do with a post-it note that I drew a cartoon on? Or not post-it, but a file card.
I sketch all sorts of weird crap.
I do too. Some of it actually turns out to be very intricate little drawings. And I've got one. Might as well call it a little space shuttle that I designed. Shuttlecraft from ground to orbit, orbit to ground, and it was about the size of a postage stamp on this big sheet of drawing paper that I had in college. I mean, I had the notebook there, and I was using it, and I drew. Okay, here's a nice design for a spaceship. It's got to be a cargo ship because it's big and bulky, and it's not all sleek and flyy or anything. It looks like it was made for carrying cargo, and then I would go, oh well, here's a little a little doodad down here, and that's the personal shuttle or whatever. And years later, I had access to a Xerox machine with a scanner.
Speaking of
And
designs,
I could
I
actually increase the scale. So I've actually got a scan of a drawing I did that's the size of a postage stamp that now is bigger than an 8x10.
I was then out doing stuff like this, where I actually sit there and color everything in so that it becomes very intricate and stuff like that. And that's something I've done since somewhere in my 20s.
That looks like a
Um,
still frame from an Information Society video. I'm seriously, and I mean that as a compliment.
but yeah, it's I just enjoy just doing stuff like this. In fact, I have some stuff that was recovered from mom and dad's house that was some of the very earliest stuff I did with stuff like this too. So yeah, and I would just grab a file card and start doing that, or random
Mhm.
pieces of paper or whatever. And it's a little harder to do with dry erase because you accidentally start erasing crap by just going over other stuff and getting too close to it.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, it's but actually I'm doing some stuff like this on my tablet now too. So now that I've got a tablet that has a drawing thing on
You
it,
know how parents will save their children's artwork and eventually it has to come off the fridge because they don't stop, and you don't want to have something from when they were 5 when they're 20 and they've got more artwork from age 20 that you really want to showcase for the whole household. I've got stuff that my oldest stepson
we've got a
has
couple totes like
done,
that.
and I ran it through the scanner. I've got it in the computer, and I've got it backed up in 4 different hard drives. Um, hey, my kids do art. I want to. I want to let them
hmm
know I'm proud of it.
hmm
Lindsay's
My
oldest
mom
girl does
has
fantastic
some
artwork.
some of my cringy poetry from when I was like 18 to 20 in filing cabinets when I found it when I was clearing stuff out of dad's, and uh, damn near started crying. One, because the poetry is that bad, and two, that they kept it for that long. So
Yep.
Well,
Oh dear.
what?
We've got an hour and 58 minutes.
hmm
oh wait, that was that, not built. Never mind. Let's fix that typo.
Okay. I saw the ugly truck, Tesla truck, in person the other day, driving the streets of Peoria.
God, yeah, those things are.
They're
I
hideous, but I love them.
It's like
I
somebody
thought it was a
paused.
joke. I'd only seen pictures and I thought it was a joke, and then there's one on the streets, and I'm like, it's for real.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like there was one guy that had a Volkswagen Beetle back when I was in college in Athens, and he had a big key on the top of it, like a wind-up car that would rotate as he drove down the road.
Oh, somebody here in Danville has, I call them a cupcake car, the little bitty ones.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's painted to look just like those yellow and red kitty cars
Hmm.
that
I
toddlers
think
use. It's
I
painted just like that with a big key on the top.
I think. Well, I don't. Except for the key, I think that yellow and red kitty car paint job has become an option that people request from them for those little smart cars. Um,
If I could fit into one of those little smart cars, I would love to basically get the wheel cover to look like a penny, and have like a spare tire on the back, or even just something in that that size on the back, because they remind me of the little penny racers from when I was
Mm-hmm.
a mini-me.
Yeah, but knowing how tall you are,
When I was
Richie,
only a little bit. What?
you would probably get yourself a little car like that and have to remove the front driver's seat, and so you can
Well,
sit in the back and still reach the steering wheel and the gas pedal
and
without having to stretch.
that's
Um,
why I'm like, if I could actually fit in one of those cars, I would love to do that. But
Well,
can
guys,
you
we
imagine the
don't
look
need
on
to miss
people's faces if you pull up in park and you get out of this little sardine can of a car?
maybe I'll get one of those for Misty, and she won't have to have as much of a booster seat.
okay, on that note, it's time to say goodnight, Gracie.
You are going to pay
Get
for
my ass
that
beat.
You're
only if
lucky
she
she
ever
doesn't
watches
watch
the
this.
show.
All I've got to
Um,
do is scatter some rice behind me. She take too long having to go around the kernels or the grains because she can't walk over them.
and as long as she doesn't stop to count them, I mean, uh, oh God, good night,
My parents
Gracie.
did give me dick.
Night, everybody.
Night, everyone.
Thank you very much for being here. Thank you all for being here. Thank everybody that was in the chat for being here. Thank everybody that's going to watch this in the future, all three of you. And we'll see you Sunday morning.
If not Friday night.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. was shut down. System was shut down. System was shut down.
Hello, I'm Dan Hallfield. I'm the senior editor and publisher of Aphelion Webzine, the world's oldest free creative writing e-zine since 1997. Since then, we have helped over 500 amateur writers learn what they needed to turn pro. www.aphelion-webzine.com and read not only what we've got going on right now, but 28 years worth of our archives of stories. Thank you very much.